Friends and family, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders. Well, I'm going to let you know our Congress and our Senate is in contempt of the War Powers Act of 1973. We bombed Yemen. We're bombing Yemen today. Kind of funny since we're giving them billions of dollars and we're bombing them. So how are we funding this war? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pop? Well, we got J.D. Vance and all this, but our stealth is in action. What kind of stealth, you might say? Well, I mean, our B-2, B-1 bombers, all these things we're throwing at the, we're blowing up everybody we can, America. I just want to ask us the question, who fired Jackwagon Joe? And who voted for Kamala Harris? I'll tell you something. This puppet behind me, like I said, the chef from South Park, that's what his ribbons give him the credit to do. This is an affirmative action hire. Every single battle situation and pullout that we've had has been a complete catastrophe and a failure. Everybody's getting blown up. All of our money's going to some other country, and you can thank this guy for not reading the Constitution. And really, our military, you guys should just pull out now because the commander said for Bibi Netanyahu not to attack 10 other countries. There's a lot of stuff saying that we're pulling out. We have all of Europe pulling out. We have Italy leading the way. And we're going to see a unification of everybody against not Israel, but Bibi Netanyahu, who is a war criminal. And that's just the way it is. Now, we have countries starting off with even Finland getting quaky in their boots. So this is the Prime Minister of Finland. We have Croatia. We have Slovakia pulled out. They're listening to Viktor Orban as they should. And understand no country condones the act of a killer. Understand that this Ukraine war, it's a war that we started in the United States because the people of eastern Ukraine in those states voted to be Russian. Our interference is pure just the industrial war complex getting away with murder. Jackwagon Joe is basically, not even at the helm. If you think Kamala Harris is, she's not at the helm either, America. In fact, everybody across the country through interviews is now packing because they believe we're on the verge of a civil war. Everything proves to us, even FEMA's response, even the countries and the people, and luckily we have YouTube and various other news agencies where FEMA's not funded. I will repeat, they were not funded in Marietta, Oklahoma, Sulphur, Oklahoma, Lahaina, Hawaii, New Palestine, Valley View, Texas. Who are you kidding? This is probably a land grab for Kamala and her Jewish husband, Doug Emhoff, and I'll say something as far as Trump with your yarmulke on. Please pick a side, be a Christian or a Jew, but we do not need to continue this Jewish war because it is ruining our country, sir. And I don't want to go to war with the entire single world while the enemy is already inside of our gates. We need to clean house here first. The victims are clearly the citizens of the United States of America. Now, we have Russia, and they bomb Russia basically and Israel are at it right now. So Israel bombs a U.S. base, and as such, Putin responds. So Putin and Russia are in war with Israel right as we're speaking, starting with Syria. Keep in mind, we have North Koreans, lots of troops of North Koreans in the Ukraine. So the fact that we have Israel against Russia and Syria, and the fact that we have North Korea and the Ukraine fighting together in the Ukraine, how is this not World War III? This clearly is World War III. The government has a Hail Mary plan in case they knew that they were going to all get canceled. And because of the War Powers Act of 1973, I believe that we, the citizens of the United States, have the right to fire every member of Congress and every member of our Senate for basically a violation in the War Powers Act. The senators also proved they were united when Chuck Grassley brought up articles of impeachment for Joe Biden. Not one of the 99 other senators seconded that. Then we led off to the complete destruction of the Ukraine, then Israel, then Gaza, all because our Congress and Senate are in contempt of the United States Constitution. Also, by flying the flag of the Ukraine in our halls of Congress and by stealing $24 billion while they don't have $1, it seems, for the American citizens, we hereby fire you. Every member of Congress, Democrats, Republicans, you're running a circus and you're running a mockery of murder, and you do not represent the will of the United States citizens. We have had to take up our own arms. Even the other day, the sheriff don't do their job and they say Vim Miller is like a third assassin when he's a conservative news journalist. It seems to us that everybody on the side of the government is working for an agenda that they don't understand, because clearly we don't have a commander-in-chief. We have been apprehended and taken over by BlackRock, which is Vanguard, which is the CIA and the FBI. They are running basically this war. They are making Iran our enemy. Iran is not our enemy. The only reason why they have said death to America is because we support Benjamin Netanyahu. Truthfully, if they'd act like Americans, we wouldn't have war with anybody, because for some strange reason, we all get along in the United States of America, proving that the enemy is the industrial war complex of Israel that has also taken over the media complex all the way back to the day when they fired Richard Nixon. This has been going on now for 51 years. That's why we passed the War Powers Act of 1973, and now it is time, after 51 years, to fire every single delinquent that is parading around like a charlatan in Congress, most likely from voter fraud, most likely from help from some sort of fabrication. But I'll tell you something, America. If your IQ is over 100 and you look at our ballots, there is no way we can prevent fraud, even with the paper ballot, because we do not have a way to do forensic track and trace accountability for every ballot that you receive. The only way this will make sense is if you can tear off a stub of your ballot. We have them numbered from 1 to 330 million. I'll let you know something. According to the Constitution, Joe Biden purchased the citizens. Bill Clinton also confirmed it, and here's why. We're having so many abortions, apparently, we're not even repleting the country's average. So we've literally had to let all these aliens in, because under these jib-jabs that we've had, you'd be shocked if you knew what our true death count would be. So even when we let in all of these foreigners for breeding purposes, we'll probably still push out around 330 million because of all of the deaths that we've had because of Big Pharma. So Big Pharma working with Big War in our halls of Congress are to blame. We need to start over just from scratch. We need 8-year term limits in every single position, and we need to fire everybody in the Supreme Court, replace them with people. I would even say people with no experience, because there's no experience necessary. I would say the same thing with Congress. No experience necessary. You know why? You have to represent the people. Just be a person. I don't care even if you had a failed restaurant. Represent the heartache of America, not just the success. Because we're not at a time of like economic thriving. So we need everybody in Congress that's had to suffer as a result of the 435 criminals that are sitting in office today. We need 100 new senators. We need 9 new Supreme Court justices, and we need to put our president back in office, because we damn well know that you stole his position. We damn well know it was supposed to be Senator Bernie Sanders versus Trump, but the first steal you did was to Bernie Sanders. Then you put in a puppet. Her name was Hillary Clinton. This is Hillary Clinton 2.0. Her name is Kamala Harris. Thank you, Brett Baer, for basically totally destroying this puppet. And it's really one of the best interviews I've seen by a journalist, because everybody else has really been completely just inadequate as far as I'm concerned. Iran claims they have a weapon, by the way, and so does Israel. So Israel claims a neutron bomb type of scenario, and what you're seeing behind me is Iran has some sort of weapon. These are dangerous children at a playground, and we are the kindergarten teachers. Oh, don't bomb Israel. Oh, don't bomb Iran. Oh, don't bomb Syria. And it's like, you know what? Here's what I'm seeing. This culture is not you, and it's not me. They don't have Jesus inside of them. That is clearly the reason why they have all of this hate. Trump, please stop wearing a yarmulke. You're not a Jew, you're a Christian, so act that way. Don't be a sellout. That's been noticed, and we don't need a war. Kamala's husband is a Jew. Sir, your daughter is a Jew. She's married to Jared. I think that's good enough, but the answer is not destroying the world. The answer is not getting behind Benjamin Netanyahu because he doesn't represent the Jews in America. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean, understand, we do not want this war in our name. Understand that there is basically a massive thing going on right now. And the thing that's going on right now is, I'm going to show you because you don't see this. So this is a protest happening with Jewish Americans. And what we're saying is, do not bomb and kill these countries in our name. Benjamin Netanyahu, you're an out-of-control Zionist. So this is going on, this has gone all around. If you think that this is being anti-Israel, how can it be? Every citizen in a red shirt is from Israel, not wanting their neighbors to die because the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, every faith says to treat your neighbor as you want to be treated yourself. And these old politicians at the end of their lives are getting away with murder. Truly, the terrorists are the United States working in tandem with Israel, and I think the world knows it, or you wouldn't see Jews going to protests by the hundreds of thousands in every state because they're sick of the murder and sick of trying to blindside Christians by thinking that somehow this is acceptable to Jewish America when it is not, okay? Jews in America are against the Zionist regime. This is another one right here. This is at the New York Stock Exchange. The wall was breached. This is an anti-Netanyahu protest after the United States deployed troops, and we have a protest happening in New York. We have them happening in California. Again, the Jews in America do not stand behind the war actions of Benjamin Netanyahu because it's against the Torah. It is against your book. You have to follow the law, and vengeance is the Lord's, and blessed are the peacemakers. You're not a peacemaker. You're a kid that's a bully in a playground because the USA is on your shoulder. And we have something you don't have, Benjamin Netanyahu. We have millions of citizens in America that are from Iran, Persia, Iraq, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. In fact, I want the people of America to know that he killed American citizens when he bombed Lebanon unexpectedly. Should we let a war tyrant named Benjamin Netanyahu be allowed to legally murder U.S. citizens while we're out on vacation and say nothing about it? The answer is no. He needs to be held accountable for his crimes. Erdogan is there right now with ships. He has been for the last week evacuating citizens of Australia, Turkey, France, and all these other countries that Benjamin Netanyahu has killed by just unexpectedly blowing up Lebanon without warning anybody. Again, the Jews in America do not support the actions, and Trump, I want you to see this, because if you support Israel, who are you supporting? The Mossad, the CIA, the FBI, because this is the swamp, sir. Please represent the people. We are your people. And you are all we have. And so right now, there are protests going on. Stop profiting off of genocide. Okay, if you want to see it from one to the other, even Amy Goodman at NPR, even New York, stop funding the Gaza genocide. So if you think this isn't just the Jews, well, here we have another place, even in New York, where just the citizens are just having enough of it. Okay, so as far as other news right now, we were doing some pretty interesting things with air to water, and we're able to do a lot of interesting things with air to water and natural gas. So here I am with my beloved Joseph Keating behind me, who is a victim of Xi Jinping, and we're using the sun to air to water behind me like you're seeing there. And then after we dehumidify the air using the sun and the wind, I'd put it in the forest fire, and this is something we did for the Los Angeles forest after it burned down, because if they scattered these units throughout the hills, they wouldn't have these forest fires. And so basically, we can implement it, we can show you what we're doing, you know, and as far as the next step from there, it's all up to what you're going to do. Now, as far as the drilling rigs that we have available in Texas, I say drill, baby, drill all the time. We got some drilling rigs, but I am competing against China through a guy named Shane Ding, Xi Jinping's buddy. And they're overbidding us on everything, and they're chopping them up. We're down to like less than 500 drilling rigs. I might be down to 350 drilling rigs in the United States with all of our companies by the time President Trump gets into office in the next 30 days. Excuse me, it's less than that now, 20 days. So this is a war that we're fighting. This government, the Democrats, they're not letting us drill. I want you to know that they shut down over half of their federal leases. So we can't drill. They've shut down all the major operators that have federal leases. And so when she wants to talk about fracking, she's already stopped that because they've already canceled a lot of the operators' leases throughout the United States of America. These are just true facts. I'm the only oil man that's saying it. Now, the other thing I want you to know when we talk to citizens across the United States, listen to what they're saying here.
It's a military town, and there's so many people here from different states already.
We're hearing basically everybody's picking up their own arms, and that's just what I want you to know.
If they start coming here killing my animal, trying to eat, and stealing my stuff, I carry a gun on me 24 hours a day. Now, I'll take matters in my own hands.
Not right. And you'll have to excuse my quivering chin because it just makes me so mad that I just love to just go up there and pop them right in the mouth.
Like it or not, everybody's concealed carry, and nobody's going to put up with that here. We're just not.
But here there are too many hard-headed Southerners and too many guns, and they're not afraid to use them.
I'm afraid we'll go to civil war.
Wow.
All right, so there you go. That's kind of the news out on the street. Americans are actually prepping on an individual basis for a civil war. We know that we've let in 30 million illegal aliens. Majority of them are men. It's not just cats and dogs, it's people. It's warranty deeds, it's people disappearing. And this government wants to, continue to what it's going to do. They force-fed us Hillary Clinton 2.0, but she is ethnically correct, I guess, because she's an Indian lady, and the other side of her is German and Jewish. The black part actually can't be confirmed at all. I was thinking maybe 1/16, but no, she is German, Jewish, and Indian. So Israel will be protected through Ms. Kamala Harris and through President Trump, and I think that they're overrepresented in Congress and in the Senate, and that they're responsible for all this war that we're looking at today, because if you add up George Soros, Zelensky, and Netanyahu, they all represent Israel, and they've all cashed in, while we get $750, and her husband might be guilty of doing a land grab. The more I study her husband, the more I see how he's tied into Dominion. The more I see how Smartmatic exists, the more I see why she was force-fed to us and how she's become a power figure. I want you to understand Dianne Feinstein's husband was one of these guys, so is Nancy Pelosi's husband, and they're the architects behind Smartmatic and Dominion. They have rigged our system through using corporations to defy the Constitution. They need to be stripped and dealt with as individuals for treason because they are hiding behind the corporate veil. They are architects. They are cheap attorneys that never knew how to make money with their attorney skills except through basically putting fraud together in schemes. And remember, even in the Bible, certain individuals never could stop scheming. And Kamala Harris's husband is a Jew. So I want you to understand this is the way it feels when we're being run by Israel. Brett Bart, I want to thank you for your great interview because she couldn't answer one question. That's just a fact.
Guns and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
Six Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused on fixing
Six
it.
Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it.
Okay, something I want you to understand. We didn't have 30 million illegal aliens that don't know English in our country with President Trump. We've been invaded. There are clauses in there where we can send them back the bill. I suggest we put 535 people in prison and we send them and their families the bill, and we make an apology for the rest of the world for letting these 535 people get away with murder. To the people of Afghanistan, we owe an apology. To the millions of people in the Ukraine, we owe an apology. To everyone. Phone is ringing right now. Yep, that's because out of the goodness of my heart being a Christian, after I learned there are 12.7 million people that needed water, I know I have the technology to help out people like Nanda and his people in India. And as far as the people in Helene, we have these sheds that we're going to be implementing and putting out there so that we can provide you Starlink, so that we can provide you power and water on location as soon as it happens. I want to thank my Earth First responders for getting together. If you want to participate, you can go to hurricanefirstresponders.com or earthfirstresponders.com. We're going to be putting out mobile sheds and getting ahead of our government because apparently they're broke. That's the news. I don't want us to go to war because truthfully, everybody I've met from every country we're at war with, I like. And the only people that seem to have problems are politicians, and they're getting away with murder. God bless each and every one of you, and try to love thy neighbor because that's what we're all about here in America. Amen.